First, I want to congratulate the San Francisco Bay Restoration Authority on its selection as one of the 10 pilot projects for the beneficial use or beneficial reuse of dredged materials by the U.S. Army Corps in, I believe it was December of 2018. I understand that since the gold rush, San Francisco Bay has lost over 90% of its wetlands due to development, but that this pilot project is part of a larger regional effort to restore thousands of acres of wetlands and aquatic habitat. Can you expand on this initiative and tell us how your region has been able to forge a multi-agency partnership to restore these tidal wetlands? It'd be very informative.
Yes, I'd be happy to. One of the big challenges we face in restoring wetlands is finding sufficient dirt and mud to build up former agricultural lands or former salt production lands, which over time have subsided. So in order to restore them, tremendous amounts of soil need to be brought in. And the beneficial reuse of dredge materials will be critical if we are to restore the properties that we want to. Historically, oftentimes those materials were brought out under the Golden Gate and dumped in the ocean. So under this pilot program, we are trying to change the direction towards the reuse and restoration. One challenge we face is, although we are one of the pilots, as the other 9, is the funding from the U.S. Army Corps has, not yet emerged to make those, to fund those pilots, and that's something that needs to yet to be straightened out. But we desperately need the beneficial reuse of dredge material.
Well, I think it's great that you're doing it, and I can just imagine how that can be used. Recently, I spent a weekend with Congressman Graves from Louisiana. I don't think Congressman is here, and from southern Louisiana on the really importance also of using the sediment that comes down from the Mississippi because they've lost thousands and thousands of acres. And so he showed me what was going on. And so my question is, how come it's taken so long, and what's been the Army Corps' issue? Why are we talking about a pilot project rather than a regular project, and what has happened in the past?
The Army Corps has always taken the view that it's more less expensive and more economical to simply dump the materials in the ocean. But that's really not correct when you think about the project as a whole. I mean, to bring in those soils from land-based sources is extraordinarily expensive. So it's really been an argument with the Corps about the economics of the reuse of dredge material.
Does anyone else want to comment on the use, reuse, beneficial reuse, and what some of the issues are? If not.
Very, very quickly, sir. For us in our region, the Los Angeles River, and as you are very familiar with.
Very familiar. I'm the receiving end.
Yes, you are.
Lack of receiving end.
So the very good news from the Army Corps of Engineers is that the sediment sampling in the Los Angeles Long Beach Harbor, due to getting rid of the pollutant loading, is that those sediments are now approaching to a point where they could be beneficially reused.
Okay,
so the obstacle that we found in the past was that, yes, the water was polluted, the sediments were polluted, and so there was very few options with what to do with the sediment. We certainly need it. We need to put it in smart places, and at this point in time, because of all the work we've done, we're approaching sediments that are clean enough to do that work.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Lowenthal, with the Lake Pontchartrain Basin Foundation in South Louisiana, so we were happy to host you on your visit to South Louisiana to see some of the amazing projects we have.
And they are amazing.
Yes, yes, and so we view the Mississippi River as a tool, and we look forward to being able to use that sediment to rebuild our wetlands. And of course, we're dependent upon that permitting process to be expedited, get those sediment diversion projects constructed so that we can restore our coast.
I'm just so glad to have this discussion about the beneficial reuse. I think it's just critically, critically important, and I know it's been a difficult issue to deal with in the past, but because of all the work, both the one I'm aware of in LA County and cleaning up and the permitting that has kept the dumping out and the cleaning of our waterway, and working with the Army Corps now to begin to figure out how do we use this beneficial reuse, and it is a beneficial reuse, critically important. And with that, I thank the chair and I yield back.